Adaptations in plants. In previous lessons, we have learned few things about plants. Plants do many things for human beings and animals and the environment, right? Knowing more about plants gives us immense happiness. So now let us see the adaptations in plants. Before going into the topic, let's know the meaning of adaptation. I hope everyone knows the spelling of adaptation. That is Adaptation. Adaptation. Meaning of the word adaptation is the adjustment to the climate or to the surroundings or to the situation is called adaptation. So in this regard, that means adaptation in plants. The plant adaptation means that the adjustments of plant to the climate and soil wherever they are growing. So let's see how different plants adapt to the different soil and climate. First, before getting to the adaptations in plants, let's now understand the adaptation of people in summer. In summer, how do we adjust to the climate? We use fans, we use ACs, and we use coolers. We go to the beaches, we drink cool drinks. That is how we adjust to the summer climate, right? In rainy season, what we do? We take the umbrellas when we go out. We use raincoats, and we take some other precautions to in the rainy season, right? So that is how we adapt that season to us. In winter, we wear sweaters, jerkins, mufflers, caps, and we use big blankets to sleep. So that is why we adapt to that winter season. In the same how the plants adapt to different situations, different soils, and different climates. Let us see how they adapt different soils and different climates. Adaptations in plants. Before we get into the adaptations, let us know the types of plants. There are terrestrial plants, aquatic plants, insectivorous plants, non-green plants. So based on the place where they grow, the climate where they are growing, their plants are classified into four different types. There are terrestrial plants, aquatic plants, insectivorous plants, and non-green plants. So let us learn deeply in detail all these types. Terrestrial plants. The word terrestrial means living on land. So plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. We all know that greater amount of plants grow on land. We all know land is not same everywhere. It is somewhere they have mountains, somewhere they have water ponds, they are plain somewhere like that. So as we discussed, land is hilly, that is they have mountains in some of the areas on land, right? The mountains or hills are slopy in some regions. It has plains, it has deserts, marshes, and coastal regions are there on land. The landforms, that is the form of land, differ largely on the basis of soil type and climate. Some areas are hot and some areas are cold. Adaptations in plants. See, these are the hilly areas on land. Plants in hilly regions. The mountains and hilly regions are generally cold, and few regions might receive snowfall also. So when we move up from the land, we feel it is cold. We always feel cold when we go on to the mountains, and somewhere they have snow also. The plants grow in this region are generally cone shaped, tall and straight. They usually do not flourish. They don't flourish. That means they don't give flowers. Their leaves have thin needle-like structure which help the snow to slide down. They're protected, that means the leaves are protected with wax-like substance on them from snow. The wax-like substance which the leaf has on them will make the snow to fall down from the leaf. Let's see the examples. See, as I told you, the trees on the hilly regions are mostly cone shaped. See, you can see here, pine tree. It is a pine tree. See the cone shape. These are tall trees and they grow straight like this. These are the pine fruits. This one more example is fir, and this is deodar trees. Did you observe the trees are very tall and they are cone shaped and they are straight. They don't have branches. Okay. Another examples are mosses, ferns. So now let's see the plants in plains. Plains are flat land. These plants have several branches. These type of trees can survive in very hot climate and they shed their leaves in autumn. For example, they are neem, banyan, mango trees, and we can say many more examples like this. Let's see, neem plant, banyan tree. Now let's get into the plants in deserts. Deserts are very hot, right? Because they receive very less rainfall. That is why they are very hot. The plants which require very less water can only survive in these areas. The stems of these plants are swollen and looks fleshy because the leaves of these plants are reduced to small spines to prevent water loss. So they don't have sufficient water. So what they will do is whatever water they have, they store that water in the stems. The leaves are reduced to spines. That is how they reduce the water loss from the plant. The process of photosynthesis is carried out by stems as the leaves are absent or reduced to spines in these type of plants. For example, cactus tree, babul and date palm, etc. Let's see the pictures of these. See, this is how the desert looks, right? So see the soil here. This is the cactus plant. See the leaves, the spines on the stems of these plants are the leaves. As we discussed, the leaves are reduced to spines to reduce the water loss. This is one of the examples of that. Next comes the babul tree. Date palm. Date palm also grows in desert areas. Plants in marshy areas. Marshy areas are a little bit wet, humid, have clay soil with plenty of water in them. The roots do not receive air to breathe and it is difficult for plant to grow in these areas. The plants that grow in these areas are called mangroves. The roots of these plants grow outside the soil and water to breathe. See, these roots are called breathing roots because they are outside the soil, which helps the plant to breathe. So this is how they look. The roots are out of the soil. They help the plant to breathe. Plants in areas of heavy rainfall. There are regions which receive more rainfall. The plants that grow in these areas have green leaves all the time. Therefore, they are called evergreen trees. For example, rubber, teak, and coconut are some of the examples of evergreen plants. The small plants also grow in these type of regions like rice, cotton, sugarcane, and cashew nut also grow in these areas. Rubber tree is a teak tree, coconut trees. The small plants that grow in these regions are rice, cotton. This is the cotton plant, sugarcane, cashew nut tree. Plants in coastal areas. Coastal areas are nothing but the areas next to the oceans or seas. So we know that coastal areas have a sandy soil, salty water because they are next to the oceans or seas, because so they have salty water and receive heavy rainfall. Coconut plants can grow in these areas. The water helps in the dispersal of coconut seeds over the large distances. This is all about the terrestrial plants. So next is aquatic plants. Aquatic means the plants that grow in water are called aquatic plants. Based on the way they grow in water, they are divided into three types. The place where they grow, based on that, they are divided into three types. That is floating water, floating plants, fixed plants, and underwater plants. Floating plants. These are small sized usually. Floating plants, the word itself shows the plants float on the water. These are small sized plants and they grow on water surface. They protect the small animals from the sun's heat that grow under the water. For example, duckweed, water lettuce, and water hyacinth. These plants have light and spongy stems. See, this is a duckweed, water lettuce, water hyacinth. This is how they float on water, and this is so they because they grow on the water surface. The small animals which cannot bear the sun's heat, they will be protected by these type of plants. That is the floating plants. The next is fixed plants. These plants will have the roots fixed to the bottom of the pond. Their stems are thin, hollow, and long. They reach the surface of the water. The stem is light in weight and keeps the plant float. The leaves of these plants are broad and they have stomata only on the upper surface of the leaf. The leaves protect themselves from rotting with a wax-like coating on them. For example, lotus and water lily. See, if you can observe this lotus plant, see, this is how the stems of the plant are. So the roots are fixed to the bottom of the soil. The stems are prolonged from soil to the water surface. See the leaf under the water. So this is the leaf on the water surface. As we discussed, the stomata is only on the surface of the water. This is water lily. Underwater plants. The plants are completely submerged under the water. The leaves do not have stomata. The leaves arise in clusters from the roots. The exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide for respiration takes place directly through the leaf surface. See, these are some of the plants that are submerged under the water, underwater plants. See, they from the roots itself, the leaves, they don't have stems and all those stuff. The leaves itself arise from the roots, like in clusters or in groups. See, this is one more type of underwater plant. So this is all about aquatic plants. Next type of plant is insectivorous plants, and these are interesting plants. The name itself says the plants that eat insects are called insectivorous plants. The leaves of these plants are modified to trap the insects, and so they are called insectivorous plants. For examples, Venus flytrap, sundew, drosera, and pitcher plant. The leaves of Venus plant are folded to form box-like structures with hinges. The edges of the leaves have thin hair-like structures. That is the way in the previous point we told, that is hinges. The hair-like structure is called hinges. When the insect sits on the leaf closes and trap the insect inside. See, this is how it is. This is in insectivorous Venus flytrap. It is a box-like structure. This is a hair-like structure, which is called hinges. So when insect sits on the top of the leaf, these hinges and the leaf gets closed, and the insect is trapped inside like this. See, this is how they trap the insects. The hinges are closed, the leaf is completely closed, the insect is trapped. So next one more example we told is pitcher plant, right? So the leaves of pitcher plant are shaped like pitcher or a container with a lid. If an insect slips down the pitcher part of the leaf, the lid closes and the insect is trapped. See, this is the pitcher plant. When the insect sits on the pitcher or it gets slipped into this pitcher, this is a lid. So when it gets closed, the insect is trapped inside the pitcher. So this is how the pitcher plant traps the insects. See, the insect is into the pitcher. The lid is slowly getting closed and the insect is trapped inside like that. The next type of plant is non-green plants. The leaves of these plants do not have chlorophyll, so they do not appear green. In the previous video, we have discussed about chlorophyll, right? Why the leaves look green? Because they have a substance called chlorophyll. So non-green plants, why they are called non-green plants? Because they do not have a substance called chlorophyll in them. That is why they are called non-green plants. These plants do not carry photosynthesis since they do not have chlorophyll. For photosynthesis, what all we need? We need sunlight, carbon dioxide, water, and chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is one of the main thing that is required for photosynthesis. Since they do not have chlorophyll, they do not carry photosynthesis. Okay. But how they derive food? They derive food from the dead plants and animals around them. So we can find more of non-green plants where we find dead plants and animals. These non-green plants we can find there. The plants that cannot make their own food and derived from the dead plants and animals. They are called saprophytic plants. So since here we have discussed about four different types of plant. One is terrestrial plant, the second one is aquatic plant, the third one is insectivorous plants, and fourth type of plants are non-green plants. So these are the types of plants and the adapt to the different soils and climates. So now let us see the uses of plants. There are so many uses of plants. Let us discuss a few points. Plants provide us food in the form of fruits, vegetables, oils, cereals, spices, nuts, pulses, and sugar. We also get tea, cocoa, and coffee from plants. These are only few things that we have mentioned here. There are much more what we can get from the plants. The rubber that is used to make tires, pipes, soles of the shoes, and many other products are obtained from the rubber trees. The gum is obtained from the acacia tree. These are the acacia trees. This is how the gum is extracted from the plants. The vegetable oils, which are used to make soaps, shampoos, are derived from plant products. The bark of the tree is used to make paper. The papyrus grasses are used to make papers. The cotton, jute, and flax, which are used in making cloths, are derived from plants. Plants such as eucalyptus, tulsi, neem, cinchona have medicinal values. Wood sesame, teak, and sal is used to make furniture, boats, doors, and handicrafts. Bamboo shoot is used to make basket, trays, mats, and handicraft items. In some parts of India, bamboo shoots are eaten as food. These bamboo shoots contain various nutrients. It is the staple diet of giant panda. Some grasses are used as fodder for animals. Henna leaves are used for decorating hands, coloring hair. Thank you.